TGC Requiem here. We're just playing a little Death Shadow Jund just to get a couple videos up on kind of how the deck plays out. This is actually a pretty decent opening hand. We're not always going to have all our creatures, especially when we're only running 8 of them. Right here we're looking at potentially Thoughtseize, Collective Brutality, Liliana, 1, 2, 3. I think this is a good keep. So we're going to get an Inquisition, stealing a Liliana, almost assuredly. Maybe he'll take the Thoughtseize. If this is like an 8-rack deck, then it's very possible he goes with Thoughtseize. Yeah. Also, if it's Abzan or Jund and he's planning to go like turn 2 Tarmogoyf, that's also a possibility. Again, we're actually reasonably likely to draw into. We're just going to hold here. See what our opponent does. If we get another swamp, okay, so 4. So we're probably playing some sort of BGX deck, Jund, or possibly even just straight BG Rock. So Duress, this one's only going to be able to hit Liliana or Collective Brutality, but this is why he took the Thoughtseize. This one is clearly intended for Liliana. Knew he'd get a chance. So we're actually going to do the damage to ourselves here just to try and get closer to sticking a reasonable Death Shadow. Reasonably early. So we are gonna just fire off the old removal. Oh, okay. Didn't see this coming. Okay, we got a Emrakul, Ghost Quarter, and Quicksilver. So, interesting. Opponent's going to get a Caryatid. Not a whole lot we can do with Caryatid, but the Kolaghan's command is actually going to allow us to blow up the Quicksilver amulet, which is his way of trying to sneak. So actually that's a technical misplay there for the reference. I could have waited till his upkeep to look at his card, not allowing him to see a card. So say he draws like a Thoughtseize here. We could have made it so that we didn't have this card in hand at that moment. Granted, I would assume if he's going to go Caryatid here, to try and set up his Quicksilver. Quicksilver, of course, can put any creature from your hand onto the battlefield. Opponent's like, I'm thinking maybe I should have gotten rid of the command, because he's realizing that Quicksilver is not long for this world. So I'm assuming he's got to be running like Grizzlebrand as well. So no blocks. Completely expected. So we're actually also in a position where now we can use Kolagon's command to recycle the Street Wraith, and that gives us an extra threat to kind of help close this game out. Ooh, it's got some blue up in here too. Gonna get another Quicksilver. I was wondering if he drew one when he threw the other one out there so fast. The problem is this puts it onto the battlefield, doesn't cast it, so we're still going to get at least 3 damage in here. Even if he puts a creature on the battlefield, we're going to get 3 damage the next turn. We know he has an Emrakul. I think we actually have to take the Kozilek. Kozilek, he could actually draw a removal spell to buy himself enough time, so... Again, putting Emrakul on the battlefield doesn't actually win him the game here, as he can only block one of the creatures. Quicksilver Amulet, you don't see it a ton. It's commonly run in the side of Goryo's Vengeance decks. Not necessarily the Grizz brand versions, but the versions, like the Grixis versions that just try and cheat Grizzlebrand or Emrakul. So definitely want Surgical Extraction here. Fulminator Mage, potentially. Definitely want Scavenging Ooze. He had a couple duels. He could have just happened to open on basics. He had a swamp and then a forest. Liliana's good. If he plays a creature out, we can make him sacrifice it. Propticate, Armwife, Battle Rage. Collective Brutality's fine. Inquisitions seems slightly weaker here. Could slow up his ramp a little bit. I think we're going to pull an Inquisition, a Collective Brutality. Again, the cards we're wanting to extract are going to be the bigger ones with Thoughtseize, essentially creatures. And I think probably a Battle Rage. I don't think that's really what this matchup looks like it's going to be about. Black, green has some answers to Bitter Blossom. It could be a good card in the matchup. Actually, I almost think I like it better than Collective Brutality here. At least until we see him running, Goryo's Vengeance. And the reason here, it's potentially a way to handle an Emrakul attack and keep fighting through Damnation, which we saw. So I'm feeling good about this. With the draw, 2 Street Wraith, we could definitely get a turn 2 Bitter Blossom. Street Wraiths are hard to take off of Hand Disruption, since you don't know what they are. If he puts a Bitter Blossom in our graveyard, it just makes our Goyf and Traverse that much better, that much faster. Same with the Tarfire. Most likely he's going to take the Inquisition. Really no point in running these Wraiths out any faster than necessary. I think we're willing to take the damage here. If he tries to run out like a Mana Dork other than Sylvan Caryatid, Tarfire can do some work. I would imagine he goes after the Bitter Blossom here, which means Tarfire is going to turn Traverse on. So we're going to use Mishra's Bauble here before we crack the fetch. Kolaghan's Command. That's something we want, so we're actually going to cycle here to get that. And then we are going to run out an Overgrown Tomb. Go get a Death Shadow. And hope that can carry us. Obviously playing against black-green, I was going to say we're highly likely to have something like this happen, but this is where Kolaghan's Command is so good. So we're hoping he maybe tries to jam out a Quicksilver Amulet here so we can blow that up and return Death Shadow to hand. Ooh, 4-color, eh? If he gets cheeky and tries to pitch a Emrakul, we have Surgical Extraction, which is excellent. So we're going to do return target creature, make him discard a card. He pitches a land. So we actually have the ability to go get a Tarmogoyf. And to traverse the Uvenwald. Though we do run the risk of running straight out into a Damnation. I think we're just going to get another Death Shadow here. Mind negates it. But he's down to 1 card in hand. Go figure, he actually has Inquisition of Kozilek. And nothing worth stealing. He's already cast 3 Inquisitions. I think Maelstrom Pulse is probably the bigger threat, in case he has a second one. I mean, Negate's still good too, but... Oh, he's running 4. And he does have Emrakul in hand. Was running Leyline of Sanctity, so all the hand disruption could have been bad. Good thing we pulled some of that out. He's got 3 Damnation, Dimir Houseguard, but those are transmute, probably to go find his Quicksilver amulets. He's kind of in trouble. Negate wouldn't have been terrible either. So, because we have lethal on board, we're actually just not going to attack with Tarmogoyf in case the Damnation comes up. Or not cast Tarmogoyf, rather. Alright, and that's the match. So that was, I don't know what, if you want to call it, 4-color something or other.